Good morning and welcome to the Daily Vox's live Google Hangout with Carin Holmes from the Salvation Army. She's the Public Relations Secretary, and we are talking with Carin this morning about the controversial dress advert that went viral last week. Now, a lot of you know about the dress, and this is the dress that was photographed
Yes, yeah.
either in or white and gold, depending on who is looking at it, and it got a lot of debate online. And the day after it went viral, the Salvation Army had an advert which used the very same dress to highlight issues of domestic violence. So this morning we're going to talk to Carin Holmes from the Salvation Army, and we're also going to speak to Meerholz, who's from Ireland Davenport, and that's the agency that actually put the advert together for us. Good morning to both of you.
Good morning.
Hi. Let's get started. Carin, can you tell us about why the Salvation Army wanted to go ahead and speak about domestic violence issues?
The Salvation Army didn't want to do the ad. The ad came to the Salvation Army, and we're very grateful for that. Ireland Davenport designed this ad, and because of their respect for the Salvation Army and the work the Salvation Army does, they asked us whether we wouldn't mind the ad being associated with the Salvation Army, to which we of course said, no, not at all, because domestic violence is very real today. It's in more South African and other countries' households than what we think. Many people do not speak about it. They're afraid because of complications and repercussions of such. And so I think it was a positive thing. It was at the right time. It is International Women's Day. It was this weekend. And so everything was perfect. And I think, it was positive. And I think it was very effective. And we were very, very happy to be associated with this.
Okay. You're breaking up a bit there, Carin, but I think we got the gist of what you said. You mentioned the fact that it's a huge issue that people don't really talk about. And recently, I believe it was KPMG that did a based violence cost South Africa between 28.4 billion and 42.4 billion rand every year. Now that's about 1.3% of GDP, and they say that it's too costly to ignore. Wihan, can you tell us a little bit about why you guys wanted to do the ad? I mean, Carin said that they wanted to highlight it to get people talking, I guess. What made you guys jump onto the issue of the dress? Why not use something else?
I think for us, the amazing thing was something so insignificant like a dress was getting all this attention. And the Salvation Army, who's been around for years, doing an amazing thing, we just had to make sure that how do we take that and put them in the spotlight? How do we get their message out there and give them the recognition that they deserved? So it really was hopping on this meme of this really silly thing, this dress, and using that to get a way more important message across that the Salvation Army stands for.
Okay. How long did it take to put this together? Because with things that go viral, speed is the key. If you don't jump on the bandwagon quickly enough, the moment is gone and people are talking about something else.
Absolutely. We put this ad together in a time of 24 hours, and that was including contacting the Salvation Army, and who were just absolutely amazing, giving us the permission for the ad. And then we used favors all around from production guys, our photographer, Morris, the post office post-production shop. Our model was actually one of our staff members here in our building who cancelled all her meetings, and we just put it all together and also double-checked everything to make sure that Safe Haven was included with the messaging, and then sent it off to the press, and it ran on the Friday. And after that, it just went viral and exploded all over the world. Hello.
We're also losing you there slightly, but hopefully we continue for just a little bit longer. Yeah, I can hear you. Carin, are you still there?
I'm
Yeah.
still here.
Can you hear me,
I'm
Carin?
still here.
Okay. So, the dress, it went viral. The advert from Salvation Army did as well. What was the response like? Did you guys start getting calls? Did we start getting emails? How did people respond?
The response for this particular ad was absolutely overwhelming. I'm not sure that we, all Ireland Davenport, expected what we got from this. Within it began, over the weekend, we had about 30.5 million tweets. Over 200 international newspapers, magazines, news stations, blogs, whatever form you want to have it, took this ad and reported on it in their own various forms and ways. We've had so many comments on our Facebook page. This ad was retweeted thousands of times. I'm still doing interviews. I'm still speaking to newspapers and radio stations. So it really has taken the social media networks by force. It's amazing.
Wihan, what were your stats like? How do you know how far the reach of this ad was?
I must be honest, it only, like I said, it ran once the Friday morning, and from there it just exploded. I think by Friday afternoon we got a status of 400,000 retweets that had already started happening, and we had phone calls for more free publicity, more newspapers, including the Bild, Sunday Times, that asked us for it. We've had people offering us free placement. It's going up as a billboard today now as well. And we've even been offered the chance to be able to do an SMS by donation line as well for the Salvation Army. So everything is just really added on so well. And at the last take, I believe that we broke the 15 million tweet, I believe, was one of the statements given. And it's just carried on growing. And I'm merely talking about statements that have been given by other tweet handles such as the CNN, of what their handles were and their retweets. So goodness knows how far we've exploded and how far it's still going at the moment currently.
How did something as benign as a not very great looking dress become such a big inspiration for people to talk about domestic abuse?
I think that I think with this, our creative team that jumped onto it, Caitlin Goldring and Van Kluter, they were both glued, like everybody else, looking at this dress, and everybody was carrying on saying how stupid this is and how silly this is and why people even bothering with this. There's bigger pressing issues happening at the moment. And I think that's what made them hop onto the dress and go, how do we use this device and basically take our message and hop onto it and push it further, especially with the handles. At the moment when you go on Twitter and you type in the dress, it immediately, what is trending now is the dress Salvation Army or Salvation Army the dress or that dress Salvation Army. So that handle literally glued itself onto each other and just went running along in the network at the moment that's given it its wings to fly.
Carin, so we've established that a lot of people are talking about the dress and they're talking about the advert. How do we know if all the talk is actually being constructive? Is it translating into more awareness of domestic violence issues? Is it translating into more donations coming into the Salvation Army?
We haven't seen the money yet. And certainly we do not want this to be a financial gain. That's the last thing that we want. What we do want is for men and women and children that are victims of domestic violence. And can I just divert you and say that domestic violence doesn't mean a man hits a woman. A woman can eat a man, man can eat children, women can eat children, man and woman can eat children. And I think we've seen that in our news. Our babies have been used as weapons, etc., etc. So for us, if this ad can help a family, a woman, a man, an individual to come out and speak out and say, I'm a victim, I need help, then it has done its work. It's the starfish story. For this starfish to be put into the water before the sun comes up, it will make a difference. And I think that is what it is for us. Millions of people have seen the ad. Many victims have responded and said, I've been a victim, I've been abused, and thank you for bringing attention to this. So I believe it has found its place in people's hearts, and it's now for the individual, the victim, to come out and say, can you help me? And hopefully we will be able to direct them to help if we cannot help them ourselves. I trust that will be the outcome of this ad.
Is this an issue that the Salvation Army deals with on a regular basis? Do you guys have programs? Where should someone who is facing a struggle against a person who is abusing them turn to?
The Salvation Army has 2 homes in South Africa that deals with domestic violence, and it's a safe house for abused women and children, and for those who are trafficked, I have to add. The one is Care Haven. The logo is being carried on the ad for Care Haven. It's a home in Athlone in Cape Town where women and children are being taken care of emotionally, physically, spiritually. And hopefully at the end of the time that they spend at Care Haven, they walk into the community, whole people with dignity, having been able to sort out their lives. Then the other home is in Pretoria. It's called Beth Chan, and it's a home also for victims of abuse. And again, there, women and children are being helped to step out into society again, better than what they came in. And so if anybody would like to be helped or know of someone that needs help or needs safekeeping, then please contact the Salvation Army, and I'll give you my number, and we'll direct it to the other numbers, 011 718 6745. 011 718 6745. That is my number, and surely we can take it from there. Or you can visit our website if you would like to do that, www.salvationarmy.org.za.
Thank you, Carin. Wihan, Carin says that she was hoping, the Salvation Army was hoping that it would get people talking about domestic abuse and thinking about it in other ways, not just as a man hitting a woman. For you guys who conceptualized the ad, how do you measure its success?
Well, I mean, quite honestly, the success can already be measured with the fact that we're here having this interview. The fact that so many people have taken their time, and well, I mean, we've been getting phone calls from Canada, Australia, Belgium, Italy, London, America. Everybody has been chatting to us about this piece, and that alone is just in its success, because every time, like Carin said, it's about what the Salvation Army stands for, and we've been highlighting that for them as well, that domestic abuse comes in so many ways, and especially in a youth market, using a fashion accessory, I think is another thing that made people realize it does exist, it's around, and you don't just have the power to stand up for yourself, you have the power to stand up for your friend, to stand up for someone else as well. By merely picking up the phone, going onto the website, you can actually enable somebody to have the confidence to stand up for themselves. And I think that's something quite powerful that we feel that we've achieved over here.
Sorry, I had my mic muted. Why do you think that this idea was a good fit for this issue and this organization?
I think it's, again, with the fact of the diversity of the issue at hand. The fact that we didn't just focus on it's only for women. We had the device of the dress, and just saying that, why is it so hard to see black and blue? For everybody who's got a friend, whether male or female, we see the marks, we see the problems, we hear maybe your neighbor having a fight that might be completely out of hand, and yet we turn a blind eye to it. We turn to the solution thinking things are fine, and for us it really is that when you see a problem, you have the power to act on that problem. Maybe not you as the victim, but you as an individual with somebody else can help somebody, enable them to stand up for themselves.
Some people said that the advert was quite shocking and quite jarring. Would you agree that there was an element of trying to use the shock factor just to jar people out of their everyday, internet meme searching or looking at pictures of cats or whatever? Carin, did you find that some of the response to this advert was that it was shocking and just not right?
Shocking, I think, is quite a strong word. I would rather say a reality check. I think it was more a reason for somebody to look at it. I mean, we see violence every day. We've actually become immune to violence, whether it's on movies and what people are watching online these days. So I think for us it really was, we had to actually show something and show the contrast visually. This high fashion angle, but a lady who purely has been physically abused. And to have people stop and look at it and almost ask themselves, is that makeup? And almost ask themselves, who do I know that's done this before or gone through something like this before? And quite honestly, a topic this strong, there is no time to go around the bush. Sometimes you do need to go straight for the message and the issue at hand to make people wake up and again realize that there is no behind the scenes here. It happens. It's a reality, and we needed to make sure people understand it and also have people, again, take action and responsibility to act on it.
Carin, from the Salvation Army's part, did you get any responses that were negative? People saying that it was a bit below the belt and jarring.
Yeah, I want to agree with Wihan. It's by time that you stop dressing up problems and making it look as if it's okay. I think people need to realize that this happens, it's real, and it must stop. And we need to speak out. Yes, we've had some negativity. Some people didn't quite get it, that it is a specific ad aimed at a specific problem, in this instance. However, we're very much aware of the fact that domestic violence is not just about women, but the picture was a woman, and we needed to deal with that. And the other negativity came from groups, specific groups, that felt that we were using the internet and we were using social media to our own advantage. I just want to say to those groups, so what if we did? Social media is there and it needs to be used, and let's use it to our advantage to speak out about things that really matter and not about trivial things that really makes no sense.
How do you take this further from here? How do you make sure that it doesn't just become a blip in the ocean and something that's forgotten about? Are there any plans to try to extend the program or to, I don't want to use the term get more mileage out of it because that seems a bit cutthroat, but I mean really to try to sustain the interest in the issue and actually do something concrete to help victims of domestic violence?
I don't know if that's questions for me. I just want to say that I think Wihan will answer. They are busy with follow-up plans, and he can talk about that. Yeah, and just to say that the Salvation Army is a non-governmental organization. We're a church with a practical outreach. And so, for us, if we can get the public to help us support our programs, we can sustain them and keep them open and add to them. But without the support of the public, the Salvation Army cannot do that. And so we're grateful for the support that we are getting through this ad. But I'll let him answer the part of the follow-up.
Yeah.
Awesome. No, I absolutely, I completely agree with Carin. At the moment, when we made the first ad, we hopped on because the topic was completely relevant and because it was hot. And now we've brought it back to life. So we are definitely going ahead to, while we have the legs, let's run with it. So we are at the moment in the progress of putting up billboards to be able to do the SMS donation line. We are, in fact, busy with an online piece as well at the moment for the Salvation Army. And I think also the beauty is the fact that there's already been people acting on the ad that have been trying to also add their fire to it. After our ad went out with the line of seeing black and blue, why is it so hard to see black and blue, another company in London went out and said, because women hide behind beige and gold. So I think it's beautiful that there's been a domino effect happening of people, the message that has been around, and there's just a new, fresh way now to be able to portray it and bring it to life. But while it's trending, we are most definitely actioning it further in as many media spaces as we can to keep this going as far as possible. It's still relevant and it's still flighting all over the world on Twitter and everywhere else.
We just have a reader question that's come in, and it's from Lizzie Lewis. She asked, did the ad team consider secondary trauma in developing the ad? As a gender-based violence researcher, I find shock ads traumatic. What about the women affected? Do you think that seeing this advert might have been shocking to some women or men who've been victims of domestic violence?
I personally, I have to say at the moment, again, going topical, we were able to use the dress as the device over here, and that is the main reason why we had to use the women as the visual. And again, to Karen's point, domestic violence is a great thing that happens all over, in all genders, in all ages. It happens everywhere possible. And I think that the follow-up to it should be the fact of somebody to look at it and be able to understand. They can pick up the phone and go online. This is the message that we wanted to give people. We wanted to say to people, you have the right to stand up. Don't be shy. It's not an illusion. Just because you pretend it's not there doesn't mean it's going away. You have to do something to stand up for somebody or yourself.
Another one of the criticisms that has come through, and I think it always comes up when we speak about, I think, more feminist issues, is the question that usually the person that is the focus of an ad campaign or some kind of trying to raise an issue about abuse is usually a white person. Do you think that there's a race element here? I mean, we live in a country where the majority of people are black. Are we ignoring black women who are often victims, well, not often victims of domestic violence, but in this country, more women are black? Should there have been a black woman in the advert? Or is this something that occurred to us?
Aimed at me, the question. Okay, cool. Sorry, no, it just got a little bit stuck. No, absolutely, we definitely had a look at what would be the better way to go about it. And we had a few reasons why we went with a white model rather, purely for the fact that everything was for free and the people we had available to us. Like I said, when we went that morning to our model, she had to clear her diary and she was the person available. Plus also, we didn't have the actual dress. That was dropped in Photoshop to be able to create the illusion of the actual dress being put on. And we were only able to find a certain size of a white dress to be able to apply it to our model currently. But I do think if there was more time, I do believe that we definitely would have applied a black woman to it as well.
Okay. Thank you for your time. I really appreciate both of you taking some time out of your morning to talk about this issue with us. And I hope that the issue continues to get attention, get people talking, and that we see some change. We live in a country with huge rates of domestic violence. The impact ripples through society, and it's often untold. For every person that goes into a police station to report an assault, there are people that we don't know about who haven't reported it. So thank you for your work, and thank you for your time, and I hope that our viewers will join us the next time we have a Google Hangout.
Thank
Good
you so much.
afternoon. Thank you.